Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation. My name is John Mail from the Gassman Financial Group. We are a registered investment advisory and financial planning firm based in New York City. We also have a tax practice, Gassman and Gassman CPA PC. And today we're going to talk to you about Medicare Open Enrollment for 2019. So you have a lot of great opportunities to make some changes over the next couple of weeks. We're going to tell you a little bit about what you can do and what to look out for. So as a starting point, what is open enrollment? So open enrollment happens every year. It always happens between October the 15th and December the 7th. And this is a period of time where current Medicare recipients can make some changes to their coverage that will begin on January 1st of the following year. So what kind of changes are we able to make in open enrollment? There's quite a few. So first, you can change from original Medicare. So original Medicare consists of Part A, and Part A covers hospitalization. So if you're hospitalized or if you're in a skilled nursing facility, for example, that would fall under the purview of Medicare Part A. Part B is paid to your service provider, so this is where your medical providers, your doctors, nurses, other care providers are paid. So these are the components of original Medicare. So you could switch from original Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan. So these are two distinct paths. Medicare Advantage plan offers the same basic coverage as original Medicare, but it can use some different cost-sharing mechanisms to deliver the care. And Medicare Advantage usually includes some additional benefits such as prescription drug benefits, as well as some things like dental coverage or vision coverage. So it's a more comprehensive amount of care that's included in one wrapper, but you are subject to some restrictions in terms of having to go through a Medicare Advantage network, whereas original Medicare will allow you to use any Medicare provider that you like. So those are really the two paths that you're going to choose between, but you can make a change from original Medicare to Medicare Advantage, or the converse. You could go from Medicare Advantage back to original Medicare during fall open enrollment. If you're already enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, you can change plans. Maybe there's one with better benefits or a better network. You could also enroll in a Medicare Part D plan. Medicare Part D plans would usually be used by people who are enrolled in original Medicare because, again, typically the Medicare Advantage plans will include prescription drug benefits, but that's not always the case. Some of the older plans do not. It's also important to note that throughout the year, people with Medicaid and some additional programs that are geared towards low-income folks, they have a little more flexibility. They can make some changes throughout the year, but most of the time people make changes to their plan during open enrollment. So some things to look out for before open enrollment. You typically get some things in the mail, a couple of goodies that can help make your analysis a little bit easier. One is the annual notice of change. That's really specific to your Medicare Advantage or Part D drug plan. Evidence of coverage, that's usually sent along with the annual notice of change, and this is just a lot more detailed analysis of how your plan works, what it covers, etc. And then the Medicare and You Handbook is a really comprehensive guide. It's a terrific resource. If you want to become very well-versed in Medicare, you'll be an expert after reading the Medicare and You Handbook. So keep an eye out for these. They usually arrive at the end of September, just in time for open enrollment. So what to do? So you should spend some time reviewing your annual notice of change and note anything that's a material change to your plan. So what are you looking for? Well, there's going to be changes to the prescription drug benefit or the MA plan coverage. So for the MA plan, you really want to watch out for changes in the network. Are your favorite providers still included in the network? And do you have a sufficient number of specialists, things like oncologists and other care providers that you might need? With the prescription drug benefit, you want to make sure that your drugs are covered. So you want to go through and look at the formulary and just make sure that all of your prescription drugs are covered by the plan, and you want to look at how much all of this is going to cost. A great tool to help you sort through your prescription drug coverage is the Medicare Plan Finder. So you'll find this on the Medicare.gov website, and this helps you sort out the prescription drug benefit that's offered either in your Medicare Advantage plan or as a standalone Medicare Part D prescription plan. So you plug your drugs into the plan finder, fill in a little bit of background information, and the tool is really pretty easy to use. So this makes it a lot easier to evaluate whether your plan continues to have good terms of coverage for you, it continues to meet your needs, or if you're better suited through another type of a drug plan. So what's noteworthy for 2019? Well, the Medicare base premium for Medicare Part B has increased a little bit, but it's a fairly nominal change. Medicare Part B and D, the income-related monthly adjustment amount has added another income tier. So for those higher income earners, singles making over $500,000 or couples married filing a joint return with income of over $750,000, will see an additional surcharge to their Medicare Part B and D premiums. So be wary of that. Medicare Part D drug plan beneficiaries, we're beginning to phase out the donut hole finally. So this was done under the Affordable Care Act. So the donut hole, as a reminder, applies to people that reach a certain amount of drug coverage. So this is $3,100 in total spending. If your drug charges exceed this amount but they haven't reached $5,100, the catastrophic level, you're in this coverage gap, or it's otherwise known as the donut hole. While you're in here, you're paying 100% of your prescription drug costs. So this can become very expensive. The ACA gets rid of this for 2019 for prescription, brand name prescription drugs. So a lot of this will go away this year, and the remaining coverage gap will be closed for generic drugs beginning in 2020, so that's noteworthy. And we have a checklist here for open enrollment. So again, we have a couple of changes we can make, and just as a reminder, those are changing from original Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan, changing from the Medicare Advantage back to original Medicare. Changes to the Part D standalone drug benefit would be another change you can make during open enrollment. So these are all things to look out for. And the checklist is reviewing your annual notice of change. Note any important changes to your MA plan, your Medicare Advantage plan, or your standalone Part D drug plan. And again, for the Medicare Advantage plan, the network is everything. The time to find out that your plan doesn't include a world-renowned oncologist is now. It's not when you actually need the world-renowned oncologist. So check the network, make sure that you have your favorite providers in your network and a sufficient supply of specialists just in case you need them. The prescription drug benefit, you should check that on the Plan Finder tool to make sure that it covers your prescription drugs. And here you want to look for how much it's going to cost you for your prescription drugs for the coming year. Make note of the drug plan's formulary. Is the drug covered in the formulary? And what tier is it covered under the formulary? Low tiers typically mean generic drugs, and it means it's less expensive. Higher tiers mean brand name drugs, and typically those are more expensive. Also make note of any coverage restrictions that you might have in the plan. There could be things like step therapy, prior approval, or other things included in the plan that you want to be aware of. You want to make sure that your current plan meets your needs. Maybe it does, and maybe there's no changes to be made, but you should still go through the exercise every year of analyzing all this just to make sure that that's the case. And it's also important that you confirm how your Medicare is going to work with other retiree, veterans, benefits, et cetera. Oftentimes people have more than one type of medical care, and you want to make sure you know which plan pays first, second, et cetera. And it's also worth noting that as it relates to Medicare Advantage plans, if you don't make changes during fall open enrollment and you want to disenroll from a Medicare Advantage plan, there's a separate Medicare Advantage disenrollment period that runs from January 1st through the middle of February. So you can disenroll from Medicare Advantage and go back to Medicare, original Medicare, and you can add a supplemental Part D drug plan along with original Medicare. So that's worth noting. Again, using the Plan Finder tool can make all of this analysis an awful lot easier. So some additional resources, our website, www.gassmanfg.com, that's GASSMAN, as in financial group, contains some useful blog posts related to Medicare. There's some additional resources for state-specific questions on how different programs might work, for things like Medigap plans, which we didn't cover in this video, but we will in another video. A SHIP counselor can be a great resource for questions related to any state-specific programs. Medicare Rights Center, you can reach them online or at 800-333-4114. They're an advocacy group, and they have some terrific counselors and resources to help you sort through the options and answer questions about Medicare. And again, the Plan Finder tool can make pretty quick work of a lot of the analysis related to your Part D drug plan options. So we want to thank you for spending some time to view our video. We have another video that's an accompaniment to this video that's going to cover basic Medicare. So that, along with this, should give you a really good primer for open enrollment. If there are any questions, please reach out. We want to thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to posting additional content. If you have suggestions for videos you'd like us to, topics you'd like us to address, please do let us know. Thanks very much again, and have a terrific day.